have I moved out of my car? Obviously, yes, I have. And I'm not just staying in a hotel. This isn't just, a night in a hotel like you've seen before. This is actually quite a major development for me. I have temporarily moved out of my car to pursue a job, and with the job comes free lodging. And it seemed like a really good opportunity. I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I have some credit card debt that kind of just, I was paying the minimum, or I was paying more than the minimum, and then it got to be the minimum, and then the whole homeless situation hit. And it was really hard because I was saving for a car, and I wasn't paying those bills, and it just kind of got away from me, and the interest rates are going up. And, I thought it was something that I had control over. But then I think when all the chaos of being homeless, when all that passed, when all that was done and I was in my car, it sort of kind of became a reality to me. Like, this is a problem. The numbers don't lie. If I keep, trying to pay, if I don't pay this off every month, the interest will continue to accumulate. I was kind of new to this, and it got a little bit overwhelming. So I did decide to take a job where I can basically use my income to pay this off as much as I possibly can. This is something I wouldn't be able to do otherwise if I were to take a job like this. Now, this is the best pay I've probably received to date. If I were living somewhere, then it would I don't know if I would be that motivated to do this job. I wouldn't be able to pay those bills. I would just be living paycheck to paycheck. So this seems like a good opportunity. Right off, I'm not going to say where I am, but as I get more into it and maybe towards the end of it, I will share that, because I have a feeling that this is going to be something that I'm going to want to share. So the bad news, of course, is that I'm going to be breaking away from my niche here, which is car living. That's a little bit scary because my channel was starting to see some growth. I guess the good news, or the silver lining here, is that there are a lot of topics that are intertwined with this and that don't feel forced. And also another prong to the equation is that there are things that I need to talk about anyway. Because actually before I even had this channel, I had a channel where I would just make videos all the time, but I didn't know how to edit them. I was new to technology. I hadn't been around technology in a while. I didn't know how to edit them, and I had a really cheap phone, and I could only record like 10 minutes at a time, and so I'd have to transfer them to this old ThinkPad. But anyway, I would make all these videos, and so I'm not like totally switching gears here, but I do a lot of this for myself and to try and give back, to give other people information that like I've gleaned from the YouTube community. So I don't think that the purpose will be defeated here. There are like other topics that they're not just like coming out of the sky. Like these are topics that are just constantly churning, like wheels in my mind. They're just constantly churning. Domicile issues. The one issue that keeps me from being a nomad, that's really hard. All kinds of things. Laws. I'm going to be honest, like I'm still dealing with some repercussions. If you don't know, but I was homeless for a few months, if you want to, but you don't have to go look at those videos. In fact, I don't even really like to look at those videos, but I do have like some kind of repercussions from that. I think some psychological things that I'm dealing with. It's not really bad, but there's just like some kind of like strange things that I didn't have like before. Like I've never had any kind of like eating issues or anything, but where I was staying, they were really strict like about like food. Like it was like you weren't allowed to like have any food, and it was just very like limited and weird, and I just always felt controlled. And sometimes I think now I just feel like I was never really that big of, I don't know, I didn't really think about food that much before, but I feel like, I don't know, I'm just sort of like always like have to have it like around, or I'm just always like, where is it? And I don't know, it's just some kind of like strange things that I feel like, I'm not saying that like, oh, I need to talk about it like on YouTube, but these are things that like I need to kind of sit down and kind of process through. And I don't know if like other people like maybe could like benefit from that. Like the domicile thing, like I mentioned, that's like a really big one. I want to get more into that. And this is not a permanent thing. This is just a few months. is what I'm committing to. So if you find that this content is just, I mean, if you're just like strictly like kind of meat and potatoes, like, you know, look, car living, car camping, that's why I subscribed. I'm not interested in, you know, the side dishes or whatever. You know, I'll be very sad, you know, to see you go. I might mention that, you know, maybe just turn the notification off and you can still be subscribed. And then, because eventually I will come back around. My plan is to go back into my vehicle. And it's really interesting because actually not being in my vehicle right now, it's actually giving me like time to reflect on improvements I want to make. And I actually do sort of miss being in my car. I mean, even though this is very comfortable, I mean, I couldn't sleep in my car right now because where I am, it's literally 10, like it's like well below zero. And so it would not be very, I mean, maybe I could sleep in my car. I don't know. I maybe could, like I see other people doing it. But if I weren't sleeping, it would be very hard just to live in the car from the day to day and that kind of temperature. But I do miss those cold nights. When we get in that money bag and curl up, and I don't know, there's just a peace in that cold air. And I'm not trying to complain, but it's just sort of like the artificial heat. I'm kind of finding that I'm not used to it. I feel kind of dried out. But I went off on a total tangent. Some of you guys have also mentioned talking about leaving the Mennonites, the cult. And it's really interesting, but my original intent for a YouTube channel was actually to talk about cult awareness. Because actually YouTube actually kind of helped get me out. I started to wake up and I watched YouTube videos about like signs of cults, and then I made actually a video about it. But I showed some people I made a mistake and I showed some people that video and they got upset with me. And so then I was like, well, I can never talk about it again. And yeah, but I feel like a little bit more confident now, and I really want to be sure that I want to be able to help other people. So basically some of these things, I think that they would be interesting topics and they would serve the benefit of helping me to talk about them and also maybe to help other people. Yeah, I've been kind of struggling just because I think it's leaving Roanoke. That was, even though I kind of go all over the place, you know, I was there for a while, and it's sort of hard. It's sort of like, I think that's part of like kind of a struggle of kind of being kind of nomadic, is that I feel sometimes like my identity has, like if I leave a place, I kind of feel like I'm a little bit lost, and that can cause like a little bit of depression. So I'm trying to work through that. I'm really kind of just looking forward to having the structure of going to work every day. I don't know how long. I don't think this is not like a long-term thing like I mentioned, but it's something away that hopefully I can take care of some of this debt. I feel like I'm definitely in the right place. There are some other nomads, I think, who found out about this opportunity too. And it's really funny because in the parking lot there's Schoolie, and it says like the name, it says like the person's YouTube channel on the bus, and it's so funny because like the bus, it's like parked like right outside my window, and I'm just like, it's like so tempting to like subscribe to it, but I'm like, that would be so awkward, you know, if I like gave my channel away and then their bus was like right there. But it kind of like, for the first time, like I've never really seen nomads before. I've only like seen them on TV, and so it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like I'm finally starting to see like, I mean, I see some schoolies on the road, but it's kind of, I can tell that like where I'm going to work, it's not all nomads by any means, but I think that there are some nomads like kind of who are tapped into this. And so I'm starting to like see that culture. I'm trying not to hope for too much, but it would be so nice just to make a few friends, because I get so lonely, and sometimes I feel like, you know, the people that I interact with on a daily basis are not nomads. They're people like at my job where I worked before, or it's doing DoorDash, or it's just not nomads. Like the only kind of relationships I have with nomads is online, like commenting on videos and watching videos. So I kind of am like, I want to meet these nomads. It's almost like I feel like I'm this, I don't know, this being where I'm like, I want to see my own kind or something. And I'm really hoping that like I can just, I don't know, even just go have a beer after work. I would really like that, just to, I'm not, it's like I'm a loner, but I'm really not. I feel like when I'm by myself, it's not it's not really because it's who I am. It's more because of circumstances, like life circumstances or psychological circumstances. It's really, well, I need time to be introspective. It's really not who I am. My goal, like one of my goals is really to try and become like as universally employed as possible, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is my goal is to be able to work from anywhere. And I've come a long way. When I started out, I had just like two survey sites, and I had like Grubhub in one city. And so from there, I have like 10 viable survey sites. It's not a lot of money, but it's money, like it's enough, well, it's more than enough money to put gas in the car. And it's also, now I have DoorDash where I can work, all over the country. And there's a lot of issues with DoorDash right now. I do have a little bit of an overlap, so I hope that's okay. Like, but there is like some, kind of themes like overlapping, and DoorDash is one of them. I'll never forget, the day that it was just a life changing day for me. I was working I was cleaning hotel rooms, and I was being bullied at work really badly. And I never forgot that day. And I'm just like, I have to protect myself. I have to be able, I'm not saying I'm never going to have a W-2 job again or a 9 to 5 or work for somebody, but I have to develop a strategy to where I can survive, to where I can always, no matter what happens, no matter what city I'm in, it doesn't have to be, but I have to have a way to have an income. And I've come a long way. I still have a lot of work to do. Obviously, part of my YouTube goal is part of that, is to create even a micro income stream, because those micro income streams, they really do add up. So, not to, be too cringy trying to sell myself here, but I do feel like I have some things to bring to the table besides just living in a car. And I'm proud of myself for living in a car because it hasn't been easy. But I do feel like I have other things that I've learned that I can bring to the table, and trying to remember what the goal is. And for me, the goal was always like, not just, it was always like a kind of mental survival, because I have been through really hard things psychologically, and I need to protect myself psychologically. And there's another YouTube creator that I really like a lot, who I like to watch, and I think somebody commented on her channel. I think it was Brooke and Pippa's channel, or they said on one of her TikToks or something. But I wish I could phrase it like this woman commented. She said, people forget about, they focus on why you're unhoused, or why you're, not just her, but just in general people, why you don't have an apartment. They focus on that, but not the stress that the financial burden of that is, of when it takes you out of your means, and when it makes you poor, and when you can't afford it, and you are just working and working, and you're just to pay for an apartment. Folk can focus so much on, okay, the apartment, but it's like, okay, you're not home free in that apartment, believe me, because I mean, look, I've been suicidal in an apartment before, okay, but you know what I'm trying to say? It's basically like, not everything is always okay just because you're in an apartment. Yeah, so it's just, my goal has always been kind of like I'm not really like I'm not like a doomsday channel. I'm not like a survival channel. But there is a sense of self-preservation. And that's not something that I just like made up one day. It's just something that I think is just kind of like a reaction. And I'm not saying it's like ideal, the best thing to live with, but it's a lot better than where I was. It may not be exactly where I want to be, but it is better than where I was. I know that sounds cliche, but it's really true. It is. Film a video that I'm editing right now. It's about my setup in my car. And I was originally planning to have that like up before this one, but I just couldn't live that way. I don't know. I just felt it was like really weird. It's like I have to talk about this now. So anyway, don't be surprised if you see a video coming out pretty soon. That is my I think wintertime setup or something like that. I have like put some time into it, so I am gonna go ahead and publish that. And I'm also gonna work on my like biography at the top, because I think it says I camp in my car full time, and I'm going to work on that a little bit and see what I come up with. Thank you so much for watching.